don't plan on speaking, but I don't know if I have to. Okay.
No, no more people. Asphalt, bring truckloads of it.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Come to order. First thing on the agenda is approval of meeting, the minutes of the last meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes.
Have a second. Have you all read them?
Hang on a second.
You have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Okay. No discussion? Okay. All in favor of approval, raise your right hand. Approved. There's a couple spelling errors in there, but that'd be all right. Next on the agenda. There's no old business, new business. Tim?
The first item under new business is TMS number 388-00000513. That is 116 Winfield Forest Drive. Zoned PUD, planned unit development owned by Jimmy and Jacqueline Lawrence. Variance request to increase the maximum impervious surface from 40% to 42%, and a variance to increase the permitted driveway width from 16.3 feet to 27 feet, ordinance section 2.10. As I stated, the request is for lot coverage and the driveway width. The need for a setback variant, I left setback. I'm sorry. The need for the variance was determined at the time for an application for a tree removal. The applicant had applied for a zoning permit for paving, but upon inspection for the tree permit, it was determined that more paving was completed than was previously permitted. The applicant reapplied for an updated permit and encroachment permit for the expansion of the driveway in the right-of-way. At that time, it was determined that a variance would be needed to preserve the paving as presented. Staff feels that the applicant does not meet all four criteria and that a hardship is not present. Extraordinary conditions do not exist on the property. The topography and shape of the lot is not irregular or unique. Other property in the area do have similar lot shapes and sizes. There are 5 other lots on the same side of the street that have exactly the same lot size and shape. Utilization of the property is not eliminated due to the lot coverage limit. And D, detriment may be caused to other properties by the issuance of this variance on this property. The overall development was engineered to allow for each lot to have up to 40% lot coverage. With the approval of a variance at this location, it will contribute to overburdening the as-built stormwater detention for the overall development and may contribute to the flooding of other properties within the neighborhood and other areas in town. And that letter that I just handed out to you, that details that 40% increase. It was originally intended for 35% lot coverage. It was specifically engineered and shown that it could be developed and operated at 40%. It needed that lot coverage to allow it to be able to work properly. If the board members determine that the applicants have met the 4 criteria and that a hardship is present, staff recommends that the approval include the following condition: that the paving in the right-of-way be tapered to no more than 20 feet in width at the curb. And that is bringing that aspect into compliance for the encroachment permit. If you look at this section here and here, the bottom 2 pictures on the screen, this should be tapered down. It would be saw cut to here, and from this angle, from here to here. The engineering department is requesting that if you choose to approve the variance, that condition be applied. So that would be in conformance with their requirements.
Could you show that previous picture that shows the front and also the back? Then there's another one that has the barbecue, the grill on it. That's a good one. Okay, thank you. All right. Any questions? Who's here represented by? Yes, sir. Are you the resident? Okay.
If you could just come to the podium and just make sure you speak into the microphone so that we can get the meeting minutes done properly.
Okay, Yes, sir, I am. I'm Jimmy Lawrence Jr. My wife and I moved here from Beaufort, South Carolina, for work. And we purchased this property here when I originally submitted that plan, I did not account for that little square where in the front. Thinking that that would just automatically be included into that piece. When we found out that that would be an issue, I wanted to make it right. So I don't remember who it was that I talked to. I have it written down, but I left that sheet at home. That I would just needed to be rent a saw or whatever I needed to do and cut that to make it within that lot variance coverage. Because I didn't want to, at that point, we had already spent the money to get the job done. And we were spending money for the permits and to come before you all and all of the others. The bill was just starting to add up. So I was just trying to do whatever I could to alleviate that as quickly as we could without having to go through this process. So it was not done intentionally. And we've never, where I lived, where we lived in Beaufort, we never had to worry about these types of permitting where we lived at that time. So all of this is new to us. And we're just asking the board to work with us in whatever way that's possible to, if we need to dig it up or tear it up, then that's the way it'll be. But again, there's no other reasons or excuses that I have for what has been done.
Any questions?
There was in this package that Tim sent around, there was some engineering documents,
Engineering document.
I think, are
This plat,
yeah, no, down farther. Another one. Yeah. Those ones. Is that a homeowners association or are we looking at there?
It is in the HOA.
And so the homeowners association approved that with the driveway?
Yes. There, and that's another thing that I discussed with, I think his name is Ted. But I was wanting to, because we weren't trying to do anything illegal. We got the permits, we just did not account for the extra space. There's a lot of other homes within that community with driveways that are not on that street, but with driveways that are larger than what I have. And, you know, there are 2 homes there with pretty much a full court concrete backyard. Of course, it's fenced in, but it's there. So I was just wondering what they did in order to get the approval to allow for the
they did the
extra
work without a
concrete
permit.
that they may have had, that they have on their property. And again, I'm just trying to get the uniformity of it, because there's no direct or complete, like you said, the HOA approved that. There's no set guidelines within the HOA to say that we could not, or they did not approve of it. Even we sent back when we got the first letter stating that we were out of guidelines with what the county was requiring, we sent that back to the HOA and they stated that it's between us and the county. They're fine with whatever, with what we did.
Let me,
The town, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Like I said, all of this is new to me.
just for your edification, for clarity.
Yes, sir.
There's these 4 conditions. We are not allowed to approve something just because we like it.
Correct.
Just because we think we ought to, just because we think you ought to be allowed to do it.
Correct.
We are only allowed to approve a variance if these 4 conditions are met.
Correct.
That Tim ran through. And in his judgment, I don't think any of the 4 were met. I'm not sure how I can see that they were met. So.
And I'm in agreement. I don't see how those 4 conditions are met here. You were referencing another piece of property in your subdivision, but I don't know if that's even been brought to our attention. So I can't explain to you Can't give you any explanation as to why that was allowed. It may just be that they did it. We don't even know about it yet.
Yeah, it probably wasn't permitted.
Yeah, I seriously doubt it was.
Do you have any more than the 3 cars showing the driveway?
I have we have 4 cars.
There's plenty of room for the 4th car.
Sir?
I said there was room for the 4th car also.
Well, no, it only fits the 3 cars. I have a truck and 2 cars that's on that.
Your microphone's not on, Denny. Your microphone's not on. That's what I said. Your microphone's not on. You do now.
And all of this came about because of the HOA, because we're having so many homeowners park in the street. So when we're driving, it's like driving through a maze trying to get home, or when we're coming home in the afternoon or leaving for work in the morning. We've had automobiles get hit. People just hitting them and keep going. Well, there's a lot of things that's happening. And we were just trying to protect our vehicles by having them on the property. I know it doesn't fall within the guidelines that you're stating, but that's how this entire thing came about.
Tim, if they cut the cut the angle down to meet the engineering department's requirements, would that drop it down to the 40%?
No, it
wouldn't.
would not. That is in the right of way, so it does
Ah.
not actually contribute to the lot coverage. So that is a separate issue. I did speak with the town's traffic engineer, and he said he couldn't approve that encroachment permit with it at that width shown. So in our discussion, he requested that condition. So what they would need to do is shave 2% of their lot coverage off to be able to come into compliance. Now, most likely that one side of the patio in the rear, and I don't remember exactly, I looked at it prior. This one back here off the side next to where the grill is. If that were to be removed, that would probably get them close to the 40% lot coverage limit. I would have to do the actual math on it and work out those details, but and then they would be able to leave the other paving in place. And I'm assuming that they would prefer to have the paving for the driveway. And this is my assumption. I haven't spoken to the homeowner directly about that aspect of it, but based on what he just said and the parking issue in the neighborhood, I would assume that would be the preferred location to preserve the paving, and we could work in the back.
The driveway width requirement is that part of the PDA and thus incorporated in the town, or would the town have a specific requirement absent the PDA?
We do limit the width of the driveway in the front yard. Because of the depth of this lot and where the house is placed, and just as a 2-car drive, it already exceeds that because it's a planned development, and that's why it's under section 2.10. That establishes what they're permitted to have, and then anything above that would have required a variance on that overall driveway width. So that's why we've got both of them here, the lot coverage and the driveway width.
Any other questions? No, I understand what you said, that the patio or whatever you're talking in the back, if that would be removed, then the width of the driveway in the front would be okay, except for where they've paved on the right of way. Am I right?
No,
Yes, so without doing the math right here off the top of my head, that side pad, the 12, what's indicated here as 12 by 4, It's probably more along the lines of 14 by 4 because you can see in the picture that it extends along the side of the house. So some of the dimensions were a little bit off and I had to guess. But if this pad were taken off at 14 by 4, it would remove enough square footage to get them close to the 40%.
But the driveway width issue would still remain.
The driveway width issue would still remain, and we can separate those two things. You could reject or deny the lot coverage limit and approve the driveway width as long as, and condition that the lot coverage not exceed 40% and that the driveway be tapered down in the right of way to the maximum width of 20 feet.
If you had to choose, would you choose to take out that chunk of patio?
Well, that's what now that I know that this is Tim, that's what I shared with Tim, but that I would do before even coming here. But he suggested that I come before you all, because I don't know how this process works, but I had some type of an idea that, again, like you said, it's black and white. It doesn't fit. So I know that it wouldn't be approved, but he suggested that I come before you all stating what the issue was. So hence having to spend more money to go through this process just to be told no. Now having to go through another part of maybe splitting the variance now and having to deal with the back and the front. So whatever it is that I need to do, I just want to be able to do it because I work in Mount Pleasant and I just want it to be done with whatever I need to do to be done. If I need to tear up the whole concrete or everything, I just have to do that. But I was just, like I shared with him, I was just wanting to know where the uniformity was in reference to the community and people having other concrete structures in place. And as you shared, they weren't brought to your attention. So if they're not brought to your attention, then what happens? Are they going to be here as well, having to state their case on why they did not get the proper approval? You know, at least we tried to do the right thing. We just didn't go about it the right way after we figured it out. But we tried to do the right thing. We weren't trying to get around anything. And I don't want to continue to go around this circle with 40, 45%, whatever that lot coverage is. As you can see, all of it is on the property that we own. It's not causing any flood issues. It's not posing a detriment or a danger to anything that's around us. But I understand that the laws and the rules are in place by the county, and I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I'll do whatever I do whatever I need to do to make it correct, so that I don't have to be in front of you all again.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the request with the condition that the patio in the back be trimmed back to give you a limit of 40% of the lot coverage. And in the front of the house, you taper where it crosses the right of way. Okay. So we all come down to, I don't have a map or chart here. Maybe he can put that up.
The engineering condition.
Right.
So here
Right.
would come
Yeah,
down
see
to that
that?
original width. And this.
I
would be-
can't.
The entire piece coming back up.
It'll just go, no, it'll just be going just an angle. Okay, so you'll have your driveway, okay, except the way you'll get into it is in the center section, and you just drive over to the sides, which you want to do. Okay. So you just trim that area that's in the right of way. What's the head of your sidewalk is all part of the right of way.
Yes, sir.
So they're just taking that little corner off. Okay. If I had a pencil, I could draw it in.
Yes, sir. I understand.
And then you just trim that part that's hanging over by your air conditioner. And if you trim that off, you're now 40% that you're limited to. Okay. Okay.
I'd like to second that motion.
Okay. All right. Any discussion?
Can we also address the width of the driveway in the motion? Oh, approve, I'm sorry.
That
So
was-
you're approving the driveway width with the condition that the back patio be trimmed down to meet the 40% lot coverage, and also the engineering condition that was requested to taper in
Taper.
the right of way.
Because
I just wanted to make sure I got that.
with the extension of the, yeah, it just eliminates the problem with the right of way. It has been seconded.
Right, so as far as discussion, I'm not at all uncomfortable with that result, but I am uncomfortable with meeting the 4 criteria, so. Let's take a crack at figuring out how we meet the 4 criteria.
I can't believe it.
I don't have that document in front of me that I can read the thing.
So the first criteria is extraordinary conditions.
Right.
There are extraordinary conditions and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property, which could exist due to topography, street widening, or other conditions which make it difficult or impossible to make an economically feasible use of the property.
Can anybody tell me where that piece is? Point out to me anything that you just read?
Can you put it on the screen?
No, I'm fine with what he read. I'm just saying that with what I've done with my property this far to make it economically unfeasible for use in my property.
It doesn't, the point is, we have to find that that you can vary from the requirements of the ordinance because you have extraordinary conditions.
Technically, the burden of proof is on you to show that there is an extraordinary condition on your property, either the shape of the lot that makes it unique, the wetlands, other various things that are related specifically to the nature of the lot that would make it impossible to develop the property, which it's already developed and already being used, in a way that makes it feasible, economically feasible.
And I'm tired. It's
Yeah.
been a long day. It doesn't
Understood.
fit within these 4 parameters. So
Well,
just make your rule on-
We're having a conversation up here. It's just, that's where we are.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Sorry.
I believe you also mentioned the danger of because of the narrowness of the street, other cars parking on the street. Would you think that would help your petition fall within the extraordinary condition portion of the requirement? Like, that was one of the reasons that you gave to ask us to permit the variance.
Correct.
So which one of these conditions do you feel that satisfies?
I guess it would be, if we're using, it would be underutilization because if I don't have it to use, I would have to park in the street. Now, I wouldn't have to park in the street, but it could cause that.
Okay.
And we're just not wanting to do that.
What I observed is if you, I've been over there, I saw you with all your cars and your driveway and everything. The only thing would be limited is you just would not be able to drive straight
Straight
out.
driveway,
The
correct.
2 cars on the end would have to just come in towards the middle. So you'd still be able to go in and out of your driveway,
Yes, sir.
except, there would be grass there instead of concrete if you miss the
That's the
exit.
way it was originally, and again.
Right,
I'm
okay,
thinking
all right.
if we have
Don,
the
did
job
you have
done, it's
something?
just one.
No, I seconded the motion.
I know you did. Well, any comments, Mike?
Yeah, I do. I have a comment. When we talk about the lot coverage and the impervious area, that's really kind of a arbitrary number. Some engineer or some committee meeting somewhere in America said, gee, 40%, let's stop at that. So we're going to ask this gentleman here to go and rent a concrete saw and a sledgehammer and wheelbarrows to take out 2%.
It's not arbitrary. It's engineered specifically to be able to handle a certain amount of lot coverage. So all new subdivisions go through an engineering review process for stormwater. The town has an engineer that reviews the engineering that is provided by an applicant. In this case, originally Eastwood Homes and their associated professionals. And it was determined through the engineering process that the maximum lot coverage that the stormwater detention in this neighborhood could sustain would be 40% lot coverage on all of the individual lots. So if we start approving greater than 40% lot coverage on all of the lots in this neighborhood, we are tipping the ability of that stormwater detention to do its job, to maintain and prevent water from being pushed to other properties. The whole intent of those designs is to keep the water on the property, the overall property, for a period of time and release it slowly so it doesn't overburden other areas.
I understand exactly what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're saying, and I totally understand. But we have a gentleman here that we have no flexibility here then. We can't grant 2%. And this gentleman's going to be a terrible hardship on him to go and have to rent a concrete saw, sledgehammers, shovels, wheelbarrows to tear up for 2%. So our committee has no authority to grant a 2% variance. That's what I'm asking.
If you're asking if you have the authority to grant it, yes. If you feel or you can identify a specific hardship or any extraordinary conditions that it doesn't apply to other properties in this neighborhood, that the utilization of the property is greatly diminished or completely eliminated, or that there will be no detriment caused to other properties in the neighborhood.
I understand that also, but you made a statement a while ago about we could be all the neighborhoods we do it. We're not talking about doing neighborhood wide. We're talking about one individual here that did this in total innocence and was not intentionally. I mean, I was assuming when I saw this, we had like the concrete police were roaming the town with their tape measures in hand. I didn't know.
Now, that's part of what code enforcement does sometimes.
Any other discussion?
All in favor of granting it as modified? In other words, to remove the edge of the patio by the air conditioner, to bring them into 40% and taper off, which has nothing to do with that, but it is, that's part of the problem. Raise your right hand. Opposed? Okay. It's approved. Thank you.
So
You'll get a letter. You'll get a letter.
I'll be in contact with you and we can discuss what needs to get done to meet the approval that was granted.
could I ask one more question, or is everything over?
No, go ahead.
In reference, because like you shared, I'm gonna have to pay to get all of this done. What's the fine that's associated with this, if everything stays the way that it is?
It can be up to $1,050 and 50 cents for each day that the violation remains in place.
How many days do you have?
And we can work out that detail. We can work with him on, he's come to the board. He's been given an approval for the width of the driveway. And we can work with him on the other details on bringing it back into compliance with the 40%. And we can work on a time frame that works for him as well as us.
You'll get your time.
I understand, but I just don't think that this is fair. And I have pictures of all of the other properties that I was talking about initially, but I decided not to even bring that because they have nothing to do with this. It's whenever, if with what's happening to me, if there was uniformity in the county, then these other properties would not have the excess concrete on their property or land as well. And for someone, and if that zoning manager or whoever it is out there with their case, they would have seen that also. But this didn't happen because of that. This happened because I was trying, we have another tree that's pretty much in the back porch that we were trying to just do it all at one time. And then that's where the operationist or arborist, whatever his name is, he was the one to call Tim and everybody else. But that's just I'm fine with your decision to do for that, and I thank you all, but it just bothers me that it's not any uniformity in this community in reference to everybody being treated the way that we are treated with our property. Thank you.
Yeah, it's,
You can appeal it, but you gotta go to circuit court.
I don't want to go through maybe
Okay, all right.
it's cost me. Thank you.
all right.
Next item on the agenda, please.
The second item under new business is TMS number 153-05-00027, 111 Jedi Lane, zoned NR Neighborhood Residential, owned by John Barano. Variance request to allow parking located in the front yard, ordinance section 2.5.6A. The need for the parking variance was determined prior to application. The applicant approached the town staff concerning the redevelopment of the parcel. The applicant attempted to meet the parking location requirements and showed that there was not ample depth to meet the parking location requirement. Staff suggested that a variance would be possible. Staff feels that the applicant does meet all four criteria and that a hardship is present. Extraordinary conditions do exist on the property. The shape of the lot is long and narrow. With proper site layout, this leaves little to no room for a maneuvering lane and parking depth to meet the requirements of the ordinance. The other property in the area do have similar lot shapes and sizes. These lots, though, are already developed and all have parking located in the front yards. Utilization of the property could be eliminated with the application of this requirement. It would result in extensive paving, possibly leading to lot coverage issues, as well as a functional loss of yard space for future residents. And D, detriment would not be caused to other properties directly adjacent due to the existence of front yard parking in the current neighborhood.
Tim, could you go down one page from where you were? Yeah.
Can you enlarge that? I cannot read any. I read too clearly. Could you read so quick?
Sorry.
Tim,
Just gets a little bit-
if we were to grant the variance here, would there be any point in putting the condition on it as we have on some of the some of these variances over near Highway 78, that if the property is redeveloped,
This is for residential, this is for a townhouse development. My assumption is that
That's
and it's all a residential neighborhood, so it's not really ever going to turn over into a commercial area. And that was the purpose of the other ones and that we've done previously, was that we wanted to limit that to just the current situation where they're reusing an existing house. They're gonna remove this trailer off the property. They're gonna do a new build out there, and to make it a functional development. And they've done good work in the town. But there'd be no backyard. It would be all paving to have the ability to maneuver on the lot and meet the parking requirement to have it in the rear or side yards. So staff felt that it was appropriate in this particular location that without the variance, it functionally would just stay what it is currently, which is a vacant, rundown trailer on this particular lot.
All right, can you show a picture of the lot? You know, the bare lot. I know you're going to remove it.
So these are the other properties in the
Yeah.
area. You can see all of the front parking. It's the corner. I don't know if I have.
All right.
This is the lot here, number 171.
All right, let's back up to, okay, show that good picture. All right, that's 181
171 here at the corner.
or 171. Okay. Now, where is the entrance to the back going to be?
So let me get to
Look,
their layout.
no, let's go. Do they have laid out? I couldn't make it out.
So this would be the layout. 4 units on the lot, 4 individual parking pads located in what would be the front yard. To be able to do this with parking in the rear, this would need to move forward to the setback line, and the entire backyard essentially would be paved to allow for parking back here. And that would not be consistent with the nature of the existing neighborhood. And it would be, it just didn't work out from an engineering and site layout and just trying to be consistent with the neighborhood. So
My question is, you're telling me now there's going to be 4 structures on that lot?
1 structure, 4 units,
Oh,
the
God.
townhouse.
All right. Hmm? Yeah, I've been over there. I mean, it's hardly room enough for 1 structure.
Tim, I have a quick question. With this parking area, are we having to deal with the issue of the substance itself? Like whether it's permeable or non-permeable, or we're just
No,
addressing the issue of
the
the
overall,
space?
the way that the ordinance is written, we take the overall development for the units across the entire development parcel, which would be the entire piece that we're looking at here. So they can use concrete parking pads and with the lot and the building, and they're not going to get to the 40% lot coverage for this particular neighborhood, or this lot, I'm sorry.
Tim, has the permit for building these 4 structures been approved?
No, they haven't applied for the permit for this yet. They needed the variance before they can move forward. We've been working with them concerning the layout, and they've given us, I've seen 5 or 6 different iterations, various revisions. And this is one that worked for the spacing of the driveways to meet the engineering requirements for driveway spacing, sight lines at the corners. It's kind of a tough site to get the number of units here that is proposed.
What about, permeability and non-permeability area?
It meets, it does not exceed 40%. It's right at 39. Nope.
Do you see where this is going to be a problem getting it approved by building?
By the building department?
Yeah, do you see it won't be a problem?
They shouldn't have any issues. It's 4 units, so it does not need to go to the design review board. Really, for them to be able to move forward at this point, it's the variance to allow the parking located in the front yard.
All right. 2 lots down, there's a single family house. Next to it, there's a trailer on the lot. Okay. Now going down Jedi, I forget, I think there's a trailer behind it. Okay. It's all that going to be developed? Or are they going to do away with the trailers?
Sorry. I don't know. The only property that we're working on is this one. So those are all owned by other people that we don't know.
And
I don't know if anybody's living in that other trailer. I know this one is condemned, basically. It's uninhabitable. They have it boarded up. They won't even allow showings inside because it's not safe. So
Do you mind stating your name just for the record?
sorry, I'm Cherie Mason. And another thing that I went to mention is this community has a lot of duplexes, triplexes, and quadruplexes in it. So 2, 3, and 4 unit buildings. So this is pretty consistent with that neighborhood.
I don't see a problem looking at the neighborhood when I drove through. Everybody's driveway is in the front and cars are parked there. The only thing missing is a garage in some cases, but they all have parking in the front just like this. I don't see the problem personally. And we're not here to approve the 4 units on a lot. That's not our job.
I was just gonna make a motion. I was just gonna make a motion. I move we approve the variance.
I second that.
Any other discussion? Okay. Go for a vote. Well, there's a motion in a second. I'm just going back to what I used to do here for the town and everything and what's happening. That's all. Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? It's passed.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No other business.